A Silly Little Guide to Monster Hunter Wilds, The Longsword by JoCat.
This video is sponsored by you, supporting me on Patreon, Twitch, and now YouTube membership. Join up for a cool badge and access to special emotes for the comment section. Thanks for allowing me to continue to make videos for you.
I honestly forgot that badges even existed. I need to look into that.
Be honest with me, aren't you sick of trying? Don't you want things to just be easy? Don't you want to slay big monsters and not have to think about stuff like timing and spacing and... As I was saying, tedious things like managing your stamina and learning about finer mechanics like guard points is far too complicated. What I was trying to say was that while everyone else was busy missing their weapon swings and bouncing off monster shells, you were studying. Could you stop that?
Yeah.
Welcome to A Silly Little Guide to Monster Hunter.
He's correct.
If you like the reach of larger weapons but prefer something a bit more agile, might I suggest trying out the Longsword?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, everything he's just said directly feeds into why I ended up on Longsword. Why would I rather... Like, he's correct. Why would I bother learning about the finer points going into, effectively, this being my first Monster Hunter game, right? When, yeah, I could learn how other weapons work. But the Longsword just hard carries most of the game. Like, you just swing.
Superior weapon that can cut through steel because it is folded over 1,000 times, like you must have folded under the pressure of trying anything else that needed any actual skill.
Correct.
Sorry, that was a bit rude. Your basic combos are the top face button doing 2 overhead slashes followed by a sweep, and the right face button does a stab followed by a rising slash that really looks like you're trying to put dirt in their eye. Pressing both face buttons simultaneously will have you perform a fade slash, which will allow you to back or sidestep and reposition yourself depending on which direction you're holding the thumbstick to move in. All of these attacks build up your spirit gauge, which can be spent on spirit attacks, dealing spirit damage at the spirit monster by hitting the spirit trigger. Spirit. Best part is, your spirit slashes cannot bounce no matter how thick or tough the monster's hide is, meaning your sword's sharpness could be red and you will still slice through. Completing the spirit combo upgrades your gauge to the next tier, increasing your longsword's damage up to a maximum of 3 times. If you prefer even more coolness points, you can skip the spirit slash entirely by holding down the right trigger instead, generating a bit of gauge and going straight to the roundhouse slash.
Right.
Or, if you're extra greedy and want to steal the wounds from your fellow hunters, wound attacks will also level up your gauge instantly. Once you're at the...
Yeah. Oh, you wound snipe super hard. I mean, at this point, when I went into Monster Hunter, I mean, like, the wounds mechanic was, as far as I'm aware, a new mechanic, right? And I feel the Longsword does a really good job of abusing the mechanic, and I honestly just really enjoyed it. I liked playing wounds. I mean, to be fair, is it the most toxic thing in the game? I would argue no. There were one-shot builds with the bow specifically that a lot of people quit over because they're just like, we can't exactly hunt monsters when they're just one-shotting the monster. So, I don't know. Like, I'm loving this because it's so true.
Max level of spirit gauge, that being red, your top face button's moveset gets swapped out with a series of swipes that turn your longsword into average high-level Kingdom Hearts gameplay.
Yeah.
Slashing with an absurdly long swing arc isn't the only tool at your disposal, as pressing the spirit button in combination with the face buttons will allow you to perform a handful of useful utility attacks. Spirit plus right face button will spend whatever amount of gauge you have to perform a counter, which has the potential to dodge incoming damage and follow up with a slash that maxes out your spirit gauge. Following up with another spirit attack will also level up your gauge to the next tier. Spirit plus bottom face button will sheath your blade, but only barely. Pressing the top face button will perform an attack that will constantly fill your gauge for a few seconds, while pressing the right trigger will perform yet another type of counter. And finally, spirit plus top face button will perform the Helm Breaker, launching...
I mean, I honestly knew none of this. This is good information. In all my time playing, especially when I swapped to Longsword, I found none of this mattered. Like, it's so cool to actually know that there's actual mechanics tied to the sword, rather than effectively Pyro Team Fortress 2 WM1 status.
You up into the air and slashing down, causing a delayed explosion. This will spend an entire tier of spirit gauge, knocking you down 1 level. And you can follow it up with another spirit attack that spends yet another tier level, but looks so hella epic it causes another delayed explosion of damage. I have no idea why there are delayed explosions on both of these attacks, but my guess is it's your sheer anime energy seeping into the monster and causing cringe damage. The Longsword has the reputation of being one of the easier Monster Hunter weapons due to its sheer length, ginormous swing arcs, and innate ability to not worry about bouncing half of the time, meaning landing hits on the monster should never be an issue, and if it is, you'll have to face the devastating, life-ending reality that you may be bad at a video game. I mean, the blade is so long it can deal damage through Bluetooth connection, but is...
Yeah, it can, dude. Some of the ability to do damage on this thing is disgusting. Like, it actually is, like, you know, just... Oh, straight up Amazon shipping levels of, I'm sorry, but he was way over there.
Is that reputation warranted? Is it truly an easy baby weapon for babies that requires no skill? Or is there actually a learning curve and hidden techniques and game sense required to wield it properly? I don't know, but I do know that that question is certainly going to cause some infighting in the comments.
Personally, from someone who literally entered this series with this entry, it's a bit of both. You can WM1 the entire time like I did, but you can also have that finer understanding of how the class works, especially the parry mechanics, the sheathing mechanics, right? Like, you can absolutely have that greater understanding. I think it's just a polarizing class to play as. Like, it's a polarizing weapon because, like, you can WM1 it, or you can actually know what you're doing and get to the same end goal regardless of skill level. I think it's very approachable. I think it's just polarized.
Some popcorn and scroll down. It's probably going to be way more informative and entertaining than this video anyway. Because the Longsword is all about slashing up a storm, you really can't go wrong with all the usual offensive skills. But there are a few must-haves that I personally like on just about every Longsword if I can fit them. Quick Sheath is absolutely mandatory, not only for putting your weapon away to reposition, but because your special sheath will also be sped up significantly by the skill. Maximum Might is something you might as well throw on too. It gives you increased crit rate when at maximum stamina, and since you'll rarely ever be spending it with the Longsword, you'll enjoy a higher affinity just by merely existing. And lastly, Evade Window and Adrenaline Rush. You're going to be evading and countering a lot, at least if you're good at the weapon, unlike me. The former will increase the iframes you have during your counter and dodge, and the latter will give you an attack boost after you do counter or dodge. From there, it's really your choice what you want to throw on this thing. There's no bad options besides anything blocking or stunning focused. Handicraft will extend your sharpness gauge, and Razor Sharp will give you a chance to not lose sharpness. Great for the Longsword, as you'll be landing quite a few attacks, which is going to be dulling your blade pretty quickly. If you want even more crit, Weakness Exploit is great and will increase your crit rate and attack when hitting a monster's weak point. Longsword's not a bad candidate for applying elemental damage or ailments either, so crit element and crit status are potentially useful complements should you go down the crit route. If element and status isn't your jam and you prefer to go in raw, crit boost will make your crits bigger when you get them. Burst will give you a boost to your raw and elemental attacks after a few consecutive hits, which you will basically be doing all the time.
I don't think I interacted with any of these systems or any of these skills. It shows how modular the game is. It shows how much of a skill floor and skill ceiling the game is. It shows how deep the series is. I just never ended up dealing with really any of this. I think I got I got a couple sets, but like I didn't really do any tinkering or anything, which I mean is cool. It'd be cool to revisit this series. I wish the PC issues would be fixed, especially when considering this game is contender for Game of the Year, especially how rough the PC port of it is. That's garnered some small controversy. But at the same time, we also should be celebrating that this game does what it does very well. Like, this isn't Dark Souls. This isn't roll out away, right? This isn't roll out away of big monster. You're not playing Dark Souls, right? It has a very specific movement system, and it has systems that interact with the big monsters. And I think it did it really well. I just wish the performance was not bad.
Breaker's handy if you want to be the ultimate tail and tentacle cutting master. Power Prolonger will keep your depleting spirit gauge alive for a little bit longer, and although Focus will increase your gauge fill rate, you have so many means of filling your gauge that it really wouldn't come in handy, and you're better off with a more useful skill. But honestly, even if you want to ignore all of those skills, at the very least, it is your earthly responsibility that you have Shock Absorber. Good God, please. It stops you from tripping others and being tripped. Oh, why doesn't everyone else put on Shock Absorber instead of me? That is the response of a psychopath. Do you lack basic empathy? It's simple math. Expecting everyone else to have it on wastes 3 total decoration slots.
This isn't optimal. Like this is just wasting other people's skill slots when you could just say, hey, I don't want to bump into other people and mess up DPS. I'll put on the funny.
As you could save them the trouble by inserting just one into your own build. It's only a level 1 decoration. What other skill would you even put there? Whatever it is, just trust me. You'll be fine without it, please. I am begging you, please. Thank you.
You put it away. Yep.
Hey, you, stop that! The longsword is a generally very straightforward and simple weapon. Build up a gauge, upgrade gauge, spend gauge. Not much to understand about swish swish stab. It's a sword, not a fighter jet. Its sheer size and speed make it a very consistent weapon. You'll be hard pressed to not be dealing damage with it. And it's a great option if you really need to sever some monster parts. Its crimson slashes straight up turn it into the one-button mashing weapon. But anybody who spends a decent amount of time with the longsword can easily tell the difference between a beginner and a master.
Oh,
its extra utilities can turn the button masher into the untouchable badass, the mind reader, the samurai. For while everyone else was busy doing the unga bunga or struggling to even reach the monster, you spent your years studying the blade.
I like the idea of the compilation here, the pseudo AMV. I kind of like it. I don't know if it was necessary, though. That's kind of like a meta critique, if you will. I don't know if it was required. I like that it was an addition. I wonder how this reflects in terms of like metrics and retention. I mean, I see why it is a thing, right? Because it's combining everything we just talked about into a single compilation at the end of the video. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. Like, the game was fantastic. I enjoyed it. A little frustrating at certain parts, especially when, like, the first, like, you have to capture this monster, and it felt like I really didn't explain
and now you know how to play longsword. Have fun.
Especially because I feel like it didn't explain the systems very well. But I also didn't really engage with enough of the systems, so I don't know if that's necessarily a fair critique or criticism. I mean, at the end of the day, like, come to your own conclusion, right? I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. There have been a lot of PC issues, so I do consider that, you know, a big factor when considering about either returning to the game or in Hi Girl DM, just seeing her in the bottom right over here, or returning to the game, or even considering it for a Game of the Year contender. But come to your own educated conclusion. And if you enjoy it and you have none of these issues, I mean, enjoy. Like, enjoy the game. Don't let anyone else get you down. But thank you, JoCat. Thank you for an amazing video. I thought this was really cool. I'm glad that you're enjoying Monster Hunter. I'm glad that a lot of other people are enjoying Monster Hunter as well. Like, I know Shenpai did an entire video series on it, but the videos are a little long, so I haven't reacted to I think anything other than the first one. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well. Thank you, Owen, for coming out and watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.